Welcome to this video on how to monitor a Microsoft Dynamics NAV managed service. In this video, I will demonstrate how easy it is to monitor the performance of your application when running on the managed service by using the management portal. Here we can see an example of the performance monitor views that are available in the management portal. And in the picture we can see the service CPU percentage and the Azure SQL Database DTU percentage for the service. By executing the following steps, I will demonstrate the monitoring capabilities of the management portal. To follow the steps in this video, you need to have access to the Dynamics Managed Service and the Dynamics NAV Management Portal. To demonstrate the monitoring capabilities, I will be using the NAV load test framework to simulate a user load against the managed service. Firstly, I'm going to start the NAV load test to run against the service, which you will see here in Visual Studio. Here you can see the load test running in Visual Studio against the service, and currently it's running at 50 users, so the ramp up stage is complete. So we now should have 50 active users on the service. So let's go and have a look again. We'll go into the management portal and we'll look at the application service, and we'll be able to see how many active users there are, and we can also see the session events. So here in the management portal I'm on the particular tenant. If I scroll down now and refresh here, I can see the list of all the users, and we can see that most of them have 3 or 4 sessions running. Here on the right in the fact box we can also see the number of active sessions, currently 35, and the number of users being less than that. We could also open the session events list here, and if we sort, we can see the latest events, and we can see the various login and logout events. So the session events page lists all the session events, and this enables you to find out who's using the service, or the tenant in this case, and it also can be used to see if background jobs are running, like NAS jobs, as well as client sessions. So the next step is to monitor the service utilization, and again we use the management portal and we look at the application service, and there's an action on there to view the service utilization. So let's go back to that page. So if we go to our application service, we can see here we have the information about the running service, and there's an action service utilization here. If we bring that up, we get the performance counters. We have 2 performance counters to choose from: CPU percentage, which is shown by default, or you can switch to the memory counter. You could also change the range, the time range. I'm currently looking at the last hour. So you can see the peak here for both the scale units. So this is also showing us that there are 2 scale units in this service, which each of them can consist of 1 or more CPU cores. And we can see here that there's a load on both the scale units of around 50%. So that's because if I was to run this test on its own, it would actually force a single scale unit to go over the limit of 80% and automatically scale up to 2 scale units. You could also use this information to help you scale the services manually. The next step is to look at the SQL diagnostics data that's available from the management portal. Again, we look at the application tenant because there's an Azure SQL database for each tenant. We look at the tenants for this service, and we choose the SQL diagnostics action in the toolbar here. So as you can see here, the default is to display the DTU percentage for the last hour, which it obtains from the Azure SQL database. And as you can see, the amount of activity with 50 concurrent users on this tenant at the moment causes quite a lot of SQL activity. In fact, it's pushing it to the very limit and probably being throttled by Azure SQL at this point. You can also get query statistics to get a list of the queries that have been run against the server. So when we open the query statistics list here, we can see the information that would also be available to you if you had access to the Azure SQL database management tools through the Azure portal. You can see all the queries that have been executed, and you can also see the actual query statements here. By clicking on it, you can see the text of the query, and you can also get a view of the execution plan to the query. So you can also sort on the different categories here of the, in this case I'm looking at the query that's caused the most reads. In this case it's on the item table, and you can look at the CPU time. So that way you can analyze the performance of the various queries of your application without having access to the actual SQL server. You can also see events that are logged on the database for this particular database. So to summarize what I've demonstrated today, the value of the management portal is the ease of access to the performance and diagnostic data for your application service. If you created your own service in Azure, you would need to get all this information from various sources such as Application Insights and the Azure SQL Database Diagnostics. So the management portal makes it easy to monitor user sessions, monitor the service utilization, and to view the SQL diagnostics. Here are some resources which will be helpful to find out more about the managed service. Of course, the managed service resource on PartnerSource and the Microsoft Dynamics NAV Get Ready page on PartnerSource. This video was created in collaboration with Microsoft and the Training Center Platan. Thank you for watching.